Okay, my connection just got really bad, so that
Oh, you just cut out
voice came
your
across as
audio.
very slow to me.
No, that's okay. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so I am interested in the educational opportunity of you educating me on this. So, yeah, maybe if you could describe. So the issue that we were talking about was about having deployment freezes or locks, and us adding um, uh, an ability to define that in the YAML syntax so that then specific pipelines were not run. But you were mentioning an issue that you kind of have a set of workarounds that you use today. And I don't think I'm familiar enough with how GitLab CI works to understand what you typed. And so I was interested in you educating me, not about this issue, but about the workarounds that you were saying you
Yeah.
suggest to users.
So in today's world, users can leverage something like pipeline schedules to set a time frame for which they want a pipeline to run.
Okay.
So a user, a maintainer on a project can say that I want my pipeline to only run specific timeframes. And as a result, they can implement that schedule to run on a reoccurring basis within a certain time zone.
So sorry, this is maybe a part where I didn't understand. When I know that you can schedule a pipeline. I thought that was just like I guess I thought of that use as like you would run it every night or you would run it once a month, but you could also use it to say like run this pipeline every 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Only between these hours, and then you
Right.
would basically have a set number of like, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to then expand on. Using only and except, you can say that I only want this pipeline to run on Monday through Friday, and that pipeline will then not run on Saturday and Sunday.
And how would you do that? You'd be doing that by saying only and except on schedules,
Yes,
or you can put
exactly.
it. Okay, so you'd say, oh, I only want this to run on schedules, and then I've scheduled it to only run on Monday through Friday.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, so that is kind of the hacky way around having
Mm-hmm.
blackout dates, but it's not in code. Is that the problem with it?
Yeah, so that's you're forced to go in the UI and set up your pipeline. So you can't do it from a YAML file. Um, and that's something that our users are really looking for, is that they can leverage a sustainable YAML file that they can then create a template for people then to use across multiple repositories. So in today's world, you'd have to set that pipeline for many projects. If you're a distributed non-mono repo use case, you could have 1,000 projects that you would then have to then implement that pipeline schedule for in the front end. So it could be really problematic for our customers and users that have lots of different projects and are very distributed with many
Gotcha.
different maintainers. So
Yeah.
it's not this method, the deploy freezes, by letting people then use a cron syntax inside of a YAML file. They can instrument that as a template at the group, and then every maintainer in a project can use that template across and set the deploy freeze.
Awesome. Okay, makes sense. The alternative thing that I was suggesting was if I have a pipeline that is doing progressive delivery and I want to say like no more pipeline runs until basically like you would say no more pipeline runs until master is back on green. The way that we would do that today is have a scheduled job that runs constantly, have it be only on schedule, and then if an administrator sees that the master has gone red, pushes like pause on that schedule or something.
Yeah, they could set that. They can set in the front end that I only want it to run, um, next week, or just to say that I don't want it to run at all.
Okay. Okay.
But again, like that's a manual intervention. Um, I think if you're leveraging merge trains as a part of your CI, then you'll always keep master green. So in a true progressive delivery use case, we wouldn't need to have a manual intervention there because they would be leveraging something like merge trains to keep the master green. But in cases where they don't have true progressive delivery and people are actually managing the schedules and monitoring the health of the pipeline, that would be their use case.
Okay. And in that issue, you had there's a discussion about kind of broadcasting the notification that there was in a freeze. That also was the thing that triggered me to this kind of like hand on cord mentality that if
Yeah.
you were working in an environment and master wasn't read, you'd also want to like broadcast. So I would be interested in using, if we could use that elsewhere.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm talking with Sarah in monitoring to kind of figure out how do we implement some more advanced alerting when it comes down to one, when there is a deploy freeze, but also like preemptively whenever we notice that master's going to break, or if there's something a little bit more proactive that we can model in GitLab.
Yeah, or if there's a P1 incident.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be really cool. Cool.
So like here's one use case where like you could recognize a P1 and then your system would recognize a P1 and then it would put a deploy freeze until the P1 is fixed. So that would then be like a forced swarming until the P1's fixed, and then you resume pipeline schedules.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was helpful. So just so I'm clear, the thing that I was stuck on was what you can put in that schedule a new pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
You can, your cron syntax, it cannot be, it's not like exclusionary. It doesn't say run this pipeline all the time except during these hours, right? The cron syntax is only some recurring frequency of when you would want
Cron
to run
syntax is best whenever it is set. You can have like a sidekick job, which is what we'll be implementing with deploy freezes. So like customers today are using sidekick to schedule more advanced cron syntax.
Okay.
But the best cron use case is to have a very straightforward recurring schedule that doesn't have an accept, and then you'd use in your YAML file like jobs on schedule run until some sort of script gets hit, and then you can say, stop and then run a different pipeline.
I gotcha. Yeah, sorry. I think I'm still not up to speed enough on how you can use only and accept, and maybe I just need to play around with those a little bit. Can you ever combine the two of them? You never want to combine only and accept?
Well, let's see. So
yeah, I guess you could be like, no.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was trying to think of a way that you could still have pipelines run on your merge request, but not let your deploy jobs. So if your deploy job was scheduled, then you could like effectively shut it down. But anyone doing feature branch work would still get all of their pipelines because those would only run on merge requests.
Yeah. So here's one other example. Like say that you have a merge request that contains doc changes in addition to code changes. Say that you want jobs that are on a specific branch or repo to always run on a different schedule. You could say jobs on branch only on this schedule,
Gotcha.
jobs not on this branch. That would be like an accept.
Okay. Is there a place where I could go to look at some of these examples?
That's a good question. Let me see if our guided explorations project has an example. Okay. If not, usually I just try to find customers and then like get on calls with them and have them walk me through their use cases. Okay. I can see if I have some recordings of those.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just share. I have been doing that CI Udemy course, and it was helpful, but nothing like there's a whole more. There's just like the smallest layer, and now I have so much more to go dig into.